Wow, it's so amazing what you just said there, Ishmael, because it is you as you say, you really are on point at the moment, because so many people, everyone's at different levels of understanding, awareness, feeling and seeing different things. And one of the things that you just touched on there about information and who to trust, because a lot of people who's watching channels like mine and watching your information, they've realized that they can't trust the mainstream, but equally now they're substituting that for alternative sources, and questions are being asked there as well. And one of the things I heard you say, I think it was on one of your Instagram posts, was that the heart doesn't lie. So should we start with what is a starseed in your opinion? And how does a starseed sort of get their information and determine whether it's from a good source?
Starseeds are the most advanced souls in the multiverse that chose to come at this time to help the planet ascend. So they were volunteer in a way where, you know, we have now millions upon millions of starseeds in their adult years. Of course, a lot of the new crystalline indigo children are being born. 1 out of every 3rd child now is crystalline. So as we prepare to move into this higher, you know, level of reality. So yeah, that's what a starseed is. It's a volunteered soul that came from the higher dimensions beyond the 5th. Most people think that they're coming from the 5th dimensional level of reality, but that's the majority of the starseeds. But we also have a great deal of starseeds, or a number of starseeds that are coming from the 6th dimension all the way from the 12th dimension, which is amazing. So, you know, there's different terms to describe the starseeds. Some people call them indigo children, rainbow children, crystal children. These are all different terminologies that I guess mediums and spiritual teachers have labeled these higher evolved beings that are now living among us. The first wave of starseeds came in the 50s and 60s, which means that they're now in their 50s and 60s. And the second wave came during the 70s and 80s. Those starseeds are now anywhere from 35 to about 48. And then the last wave has been coming in since 2000, and they just been coming in like crazy. So that's what a starseed is. It's a higher evolved soul that decided to regress back into the 3rd dimension in an avatar form while operating still from higher levels of reality. Because see, the starseed is how can I say it? They're multidimensional. Everyone's multidimensional, but they, again, you know, these are souls that have already reached higher levels of reality. So in that regard, only a rather small portion of their consciousness incarnated into this avatar in order to be the boots on the ground and kind of like work the system from within as the busters of the old paradigm that hasn't been working for thousands of years, in order to anchor in the new high energy vibrations that are bringing the world into a better reality and a better world structure. So, you know, the starseeds have been doing their job just by merely existing, because they exert a type of frequency that is very transmutive when it comes to lower, denser energies. And so that's who they are. They're multidimensional beings that are still operating from the higher dimensions with only a small portion of their consciousness incarnating at this time, while forgetting who they were, of course, forgetting their galactic self and their higher self, over self, Christ self. But, you know, in turn, in time, those memories are soon going to be coming back.
Do you know, anyone would think we planned this, Ishmael, because that leads so perfectly on to my next question about, so there's all this talk about when we incarnate, you know, star seeds and non-star seeds into this current reality, that we forget a lot. So in one respect, there's the fact that we're here to learn lessons, evolve, move up to high levels of consciousness. So why would the greater beings or the process work that we would forget some of that knowledge when we come back in? Because surely then there's the danger of making the same mistakes over and over again. Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense. And, you know, we actually all agreed to forget. That was the primary reason why we incarnated, was to forget who we were so that we could actually learn from the limitations of being mortal and being human. Because in the higher dimensions, we have an immortal avatar. You know, we don't see death the way the humans on Earth see death. There is no death. There's only transition from one level of reality to the next. Because as you know, in essence, we are immortal beings that are infinite in nature. And in essence, we're also reflections and fractals of the one consciousness that many call, you know, the great prime creator souls of all existence. So as children of the one, you know, we chose to incarnate without our memories so that we could understand the human condition. Because when the time comes, when our upgrades take place, which is going to happen any day now, as more CMAs come in, we're getting ready to transform into, the beautiful angelic humanoids that we were supposed to be, with amazing godlike superpowers, so that we could use those powers for good, so that we could understand what it's like to be human, so that when we do transform and have access to our divine abilities, we could use those for the greatest, for the greatest benefit of all living things. So it was part of the training. It was part of the training in order to humble us, I guess, better yet said.
Brilliant, Ismael. This is absolutely amazing. Wow. My mind is just going at 90 miles an hour. So before we move on to the artificial intelligence, with this world that we're moving into, with the activation after the solar flash, that is the trigger point for all of this, is it?
Yes, that is when the entire collective of humanity is shifted into the fifth dimensional reality. Well, fourth and fifth and sixth. Most of humans that are not starseeds are going at least to the fourth dimension, where it's still going to be a type of heaven on earth. Evil will be removed for at least 1,000 years. And then, of course, the starseeds are going to be operating in the fifth dimension and up. So there's going to be different dimensional Earths coexisting all simultaneously.
Amazing. And in this when this happens, because we're all energy and all light, in this new stage we're moving into, will we need to eat?
It all depends on you. Once you're in the fifth dimension, you could live off of prana, energy, chi, universal life force. Yeah, so people in the fourth dimension who are actually the younger souls, and that's what I call in my book the newbie souls, the ones that are starting their evolution from the bottom up, which first started as the consciousness of a mineral, and then they moved up to the animal, plant kingdom, and then they moved up to the animal kingdom, and then up to the human kingdom. Those souls are still going to be eating food. So people in the fourth dimension or fourth dimensional realities, the people in those existences still have to eat food because their body is not fully yet crystalline. Their body is a 50%. So what's showing me?
They always come at the most inappropriate times. Go on, Coco. Right. So there'll be differences and there'll be choices.
Yes, absolutely. There's also going to be different levels of upgrades, and that's why this corresponds with what I've been saying, that we're going to be entering the age of superheroes, and that these movies have implanting in our brains. That's what, they're dropping these seeds. Marvel, DC. In fact, the writers of these comics were actually insiders that had access to the truth. And so they decided to, in a nonchalant way, to kind of reveal it and expose it, by creating their own stories and their own themes in the form of superheroes. But what they were really doing is they were preparing us for what was to come here on the earth.
I'm ready.